Good afternoon. This is Gloria Nelson with TUG, and it is our pleasure this afternoon to welcome the folks from UnForm as they present UnForm document capture for IDM. And without any further ado, Paul, I'm going to make you the presenter. And if you can kindly share your screen with us.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Can see you now, and thank you.
And then, Gloria, do I need to hit the record, or are we able to do that?
I am in record mode, so thank you for double checking.
Okay, very good. Well, again, thank you for taking the time today to take a look at our presentation. I'm Paul Boushell. I'm with work for Synergetic Data Systems, and we're the publisher of UnForm applications. Just kind of as a quick review, we've got a variety of applications that are available for use with Cloud Suite and IDM. And we're going to just kind of focus on a small part today, but I wanted to kind of step through just real quick a high level overview of what all those different components are, just to make sure everybody's aware of them. Cirrus Print is our cloud printing solution. So those of you that are scrambling to find something to replace Google Cloud Print really need to take a good hard look at Cirrus Print, because it can replace that and has much more functionality available for you, including the ability to print to standard printers. So when you're using Cirrus Print, you don't necessarily have to buy email capable printers. You can continue to use your existing printers. Our print management forms output solution works with Cloud Suite. We take the XML format 4 and can generate the forms and reports with those. And today we're going to talk a little bit, or focus more on how we're getting documents into IDM. So we'll be looking at the image manager process and the print process, and how we can push printed forms into IDM as well. And then we'll take a quick look at how all that stuff works. So again, today's focus is going to be how we take external documents, either copies that are being scanned or electronic copies coming in via email. They come in via an inbound monitored source, and I'll show you how that works. And that could be directories on your network, or it could be email boxes that get monitored to bring documents in that are emailed to you. They come into the image manager application where the documents are identified, and then the data required for whatever particular process and for indexing is extracted from those documents. They move into the UnForm archive where they're available for retrieval there, and we've got Chrome web extensions you can use to launch from CSD or from Web UI. But then we'll look at how we're pushing those documents into IDM. And then, as a kind of a bonus, you do have the ability to create, the various, like the invoice bot or an order bot, and push that into Cloud Suite as well. Our image manager document capture solution uses a variety of technologies to try to make life as easy as possible for you when you're trying to get documents pushed into IDM. One of the capabilities is the ability to read text off of PDF. So if you have a PDF that has a text layer, we can just pull that text off of the document, and we can get that text accurately 100% of the time. We do have optical character recognition, so if the PDF text layer isn't detected, we'll run it through an OCR engine to get the data off of there. We've also got barcode recognition, so if you're bringing documents that have barcoded data on it, we can read the barcodes. We can look data up directly from CSD as well. So once we've captured a data element, we can use that to help query and pull in additional information. And we've got click-to-key capability too. So if you're looking at a document on the screen, you can click on a value and have it populate one of the indexing values. And of course, you can manually index documents as well. So I'm going to try to spend as much time in the applications as we can, so you get a good feel for it. But what I'm going to do to start, I'm going to kick off this email to one of the email addresses that we monitor. You'll note that I've got 4 different documents in here. So I'm going to kick that off. And what's going on? It is going into an inbound source. In this case, it's a mailbox that we're monitoring. And what we'll do is these inbound sources can be, again, email addresses, or it could be a specific directory that we're monitoring. And as they come in, we've identified, based on what that inbound source is, what we want to do with those documents. So as documents land in this inbound source, I'm going to detect, run the detection logic on the documents, figure out what they are, what I need to do with them, and run those jobs. So again, they'll be coming into Image Manager here. You'll see they're starting to process as they come in, and ultimately they'll land in Image Manager. Now, typically, what you log into Image Manager to monitor for any exceptions. So I've got all of the automation turned off just so we can go through each step so you can see what's happening. But you'll see I brought in these documents and I've got check marks on all but one. So this check mark indicates that, when I ran this document, I was able to detect, who sent it, what kind of document it was, and then what I needed to do with it when it came in here. Also note too that we have more documents here than what I would actually send in that email, and that's because we had one example of a single PDF that had multiple invoices in it. So as that PDF came in, based on a change in the invoice number, we know it's time to start a new document. So that particular PDF got split up into individual invoices, and we were able to determine, who sent it and then what data we need to grab to get that document indexed and ready to push into IDM as the attributes. You'll note in this job here, I've got some lookups built into this one. So these are actually looking up data in CSD. So they'll come in, and as that job processes based on however that particular job definition is configured, I can go actually pull data in or validate data, validate that this is in fact a purchase order vendor number combination that exists. And then you'll see again, I've got check marks on all of these, which indicates that they came in, we knew what they were, what we needed to do with them, and that they're ready to go. I don't have a check mark on this one because this is an example of an invoice that came in, and we haven't trained it yet. So we'll come back to that in a few minutes and take a look at how we do that. But these are all ready, and typically what would happen is the jobs would run, and all the ones that got check marks would be uploaded. So I'm going to go ahead and hit go and let the magic begin here. So what it's doing now is it's creating the data, the attributes we need to store it in IDM. You'll note that one that we hadn't trained yet is going to still be sitting there, so didn't know what to do with that, but again, we'll come back to that. So those documents got pushed over, and if we jump over here, we'll see they're coming in as we speak. So they're starting to pull into IDM, and ultimately they will all be in there and available for you in IDM. So again, we ran the job, identified the sender, where the data is we need to create the attributes, and we deliver those over to IDM. And then just kind of as a bonus feature in this one, we did a little more with these vendor invoices. So if we come back over here, we're in AP Invoice Center. You'll see if I hit search, those actually came in to AP Invoice Center. So those we had done a little more work on them to get data other than just the indexing data we create the attributes with. We actually pulled detail from those and loaded them into the Invoice Center. So they're here, and you'll see they're loaded up. And then just so you can see it, this is the Chrome web extensions that we've created. So if I take a look at these, let me take a look at a different one here. Let me load these up here. Oh, this is, sorry. Let me get to my document here. Here we go. So if we take a look with our Chrome web extension, I can easily launch from here. And what it's going to do is pull up all the documents associated with that transaction. This is in the UnForm archive. Again, it's in both IDM and archive. So I'm able to retrieve all those documents directly from there. So in this example, if, once it hit AP Invoice Center, if it failed the three-way match, you got access either through IDM or through the UnForm archive to all the documents you need to be able to resolve that particular transaction. So, again, documents are hitting that inbound email address. We recognize, we bring them in, strip that attachment off, run them through Image Manager, identify it, get the information, and move it on down the line so that it's in IDM and in this example in CSD and AP Invoice Center ready to go. Then we can also, as part of the capture, if you're, in addition to IDM generated documents, if you're using UnForm, oops, where did I go? I didn't hit the right one. If you're using UnForm, we can capture those as well. So if I am I think that's the one I'm looking for. If I print that, it'll print. And then if we go into 631, I think that's the one I just did. Oh, you'll note that it is in there in IDM ready to go. So the documents that are coming through Image Manager, we push those, straight in to IDM and the archive, and same with print output from UnForm or from IDM. As those documents are printed, we can push them in for you. Let me jump back here real quick. I just wanted to show this one real quick. So if you remember, this is one that came in, and this was the first time that we had processed invoices from this vendor. I just wanted to show you very quickly how quick and easy it is to train it to find those fields. So in this example, this is the first time we've received an invoice from this vendor. So I just copy and rename an existing job definition for that vendor. And then really it's just a matter of coming in here and dragging and dropping a box. So I'm looking for my invoice number. See, I got it there. I'm looking for my invoice date. I simply put it on the invoice date, PO number, drop that there, and then my detection. So I'm going to look for, some kind of data on this document to identify that it is Barry. And then, that's pretty much it. I'm done. That's how quick and easy it is to create or to train it for an existing vendor to capture the attributes that you need to be able to get that document indexed. There is a little more setup to do to get the line item detail, and we really aren't going to go through that today. But that is again, that is the whole flow. So if you're scanning documents, if some of you are probably still scanning in signed proof of deliveries, you simply scan them to a monitored email address, or you scan them into a monitored directory, and then, based on the job definitions, it picks it up and runs it from there, and gets all the indexing and attributes built, pushes it into IDM so that it's available for retrieval as needed. And then again, if you're using UnForm for your forms, you still have all that functionality too. So in that example, if you wanted to bundle up the proof of delivery along with the invoice and email it to the customer, you have that capability as well. So I think that one, we got through that pretty quickly, and that was the intent, was just to get a good idea for, from an end user standpoint, what it looks like, and and how this stuff works. It's pretty straightforward to get those documents in there and ready for you to use. So at this point, Gloria, I think we're ready for some questions.
Paul, as we wait for some questions to populate, might I ask the question, what is the most frequently asked question that you get about this application from your prospective customers?
Well, I think quite frankly, a lot of times it's cost. And I think what you would find is that based on some of the other solutions out there, that the cost of our applications is a much more competitive price point than some of the other applications out there. It's also we give you all the tools you need to be able to do this, as much or as little of this as you want. So it's our goal is to make it easy for you, so that it's not a professional services intensive kind of implementation to do it. We want you to know how to do it and use it.
Okay, and I do have my first question here for you. Is this available with SX on-prem and Infor OS and Cloud Suite distribution as a hybrid? We use UnForm on-prem version 10.
The answer is absolutely. So everything we just saw is available on-prem as well. So yes, absolutely.
And that's the only question that I have that's populated thus far. Whoops, here comes another one. The next question is, we are already using UnForm for CSD for our forms. Should we already have this set up, or is this separate?
So it is separate. So there are different components required. We can certainly take a look at if there are other components that you need. So you would, if you don't have Image Manager today, you have to have that, and we do have to push them into the archive to be able to generate the data and the BODs and things like that. But feel free to contact me, and we can take a look at what you guys have and what you need to get the rest of it up and running.
Next question is, can documents be saved into UnForm archiving and IDM?
Yes, absolutely. We're doing that. We're doing both. So as they come through Image Manager, we're actually, we load them into the archive, and then the data that we've captured is stored in archive, and we use that data to create the attributes and push, the BODs as well as the document over to IDM.
Okay. That's the last question that I have thus far. Is there anything that you would like to add as we're waiting to see if anything else populates about how to integrate the software into your platform and transition it into active use?
So, Alan, you want to maybe talk a little bit about some of the methods we're using to move, these documents and the information, back and forth as needed?
Are we talking about how you get from like BOD to print and then Image Manager to BOD? Yeah. Well, both directions are handled through rule files. Of course, the printing side of it, where we're doing that type 4 print, Infor generates a BOD that goes out through the Enterprise connector and gets picked up by UnForm. Often that's done through Cirrus Print, because it has a very robust way to pick up BODs and get them into UnForm in various ways. Then it just runs, the way UnForm runs jobs. It runs a rule set. That rule set picks apart the XML, produces the PDF or the PCL output for printing or for storage and e-delivery. And those land in our archive and or the IDM storage. For the inbound side, the Image Manager jobs are similar to rule sets in that they run on the server They run in background. They are fully scriptable through the built-in programming language to parse them all out and get all the indexing and validation figured out. Those images that came in are then uploaded into our archive, and from there, another rule set runs that pushes that into IDM. So there's there's steps that take place, but it all can happen under the covers and in an automated way.
Excellent. I do have a couple more questions that populated. The first is, can exception documents generate an ION task?
So those that don't pass Image Manager, I assume is what they mean. So Alan, so my assumption is that if it fails validation here, we can certainly send an alert and generate.
Yeah, I'm kind of stumped on that question.
Yeah.
If it fails validation here, so it really hasn't gone anywhere outside of this inbound source library. I mean, we can send alerts out at the time the job is executed and it fails some validation. We've also built reports that can be run on demand or could be set up on a schedule that basically go through the whole, all the inbound sources and constructs a report of exceptions, and those can be emailed or dropped someplace. As far as getting information up into Cloud Suite, we haven't done any posts like that. We work with their API for pushing things into IDM, and we upload BODs, and we do the fetchware calls for the lookups, but we haven't done that, anything beyond that. We certainly could, because we have the ability. We've learned how to work with their API, so we could write additional calls into that.
There's a second part to that question from the poster. Is there an alert from UnForm when this happens?
That can be programmed. It's just like I said, these are just scripts that run on the server, and they're fully capable of sending emails based on certain conditions. So sure, that'd be easy.
Okay. And another question says, we currently use ePrint. Do we have to have Cirrus Print to use these functions? And if so, is the transition to Cirrus Print easy?
I'm not sure what
was that ePrint. You mean, is this referring to like HP ePrint, where you've got email capable printers that talk to an HP data center, and you're assigned an email address for each printer, and Cirrus Print does replace that. It can replace that with your own email addresses, and so you can email your printers, and they can be any printers, not just email capable printers. And Cirrus Print can also receive jobs in other ways besides emails. So there can be network printing, there's API printing, which UnForm can use to send jobs straight to Cirrus Print. And there's also file pickups. The web extension can push viewed PDFs through Cirrus Print. So it's very flexible.
Yeah.
And in terms of ease of configuration, well, go ahead. Is there a second part to the question?
No, I was going to say the poster said yes, that in your query was that for HP ePrint.
Oh,
the poster said yes, it was.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't say all, many of the printer vendors provide their own, email to print functionality through their data centers. And those, those are consumer grade functions, and you don't control the data from, from the point where the print is produced all the way to the printer. With Cirrus Print, you do, because it goes through, if you're using email, it goes through your own email server. And if you are, of course, using the API and so forth, that's under your direct control as well.
that's all the questions we've had populating thus far. Paul, do you happen to have a slide at the end of your presentation with regard to how people that are online or viewing this post recording, how they can get in touch with you?
There we go.
Yay! Wonderful.
Yeah, and for if you're currently using UnForm and you have some questions about, if you need any other components or what you need to do to get this stuff up and running, just let me know. And anybody that's interested in talking about a configuration and what the cost might be, please contact me and we can work through that with you.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you gentlemen for jumping online today and presenting this robust content as part of our TUG Connects 365 series that's ongoing. And thank you to everyone who attended today as well. We'll look forward to more content being presented throughout the year in the rest of 2020. So thanks so much, gentlemen, and everyone have a great day. This will be posted onto the TUG website for future viewing, reference, or as well as sharing with your colleagues. So gentlemen, again, thank you so much for your presentation today. And as they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.